we started the collab and you sent out the project format, I thought to myself, okay, what do I want to write about? I love writing, and you know that it's been a long journey working together and really finding that courage to write the story, to get it out there. And so I want to thank you first and foremost for really working with me towards that and pushing me to do that. So I thought that the collab on the book was a perfect way for me to get out there, to really share a story. And that story was reinvent yourself. And one of the main points I put in the book was I felt after the years that I had been in business, I had been working on multiple projects, helping others build, alongside building a nonprofit. I felt that I had reinvented myself multiple times.
Mm,
And
mhm.
I felt in writing, as I was writing, it wasn't just one reinvention where it was like, boom, this is Christa Martinez. It was one chapter after another in my life where I had become a new version of myself.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, no, and I definitely really enjoyed just like all the wisdom that you shared with us, during this collab. And I feel that you definitely have way more to share for sure because it was just kind of like a little appetizer of Krista, and kind of like her challenges. But tell us a little bit about, what was the challenge that you chose to share with us in regards to your own personal journey in regards to the power of love and one more.
Yeah, so I talked about the nonprofit, building out the nonprofit, Dreams and Hope for the Children. So I am president and founder of a local nonprofit in Kern County, which is California, Central Valley. And I discussed that. I discussed being able to go through that process in the chapter,
Yeah.
from having a dream and a vision, right? And then turning that dream and vision into a project. And then the project, developing over time. And one of the things that I discussed was how if I took one step, 10 doors open for me. And that's when you know you're on the right path. And that's when you know God has your back, and you are walking your purpose, is when you take one step and yet 10 doors open for you, even when there's fear. There may not be monetary extra, to do the project. There may be just lack of courage, thinking I'm not qualified to do this. And
Mm.
God just surrounded me with just an amazing group of people that I could push forward. And I said the power one more because I really believe that one more person you talk to, one more step, one more door you walk through, one more time you get out of bed when it's really really tough, and you go to that meeting when you're not sure how it's going to show up. Just one more open the doors to where we are today.
Wow. Yeah. And I love that power of one more. And I'm glad that you explained a little bit more the significance behind that of the power of one more, like you said, going to one more meeting or pushing yourself for that one more, getting out of bed when sometimes, yeah, you don't feel like it. You don't have the motivation. But it sounds like this power of one more has helped you to just be this person who, despite going through challenges, you say, I'm going to do it anyway. It sounds like, so for people out there that have trouble with just doing something or taking that action, how do you feel that they could start to like use this power of one more in their lives? Like if I were to just ask you, hey, can you just help me, coach me around this? Like I have trouble having trouble with procrastination, or I'm having trouble with my dreams. What advice would you give to those people?
I really believe that faith, number one, you've got to have the faith. Every morning, I have morning rituals. I'm very big on rituals. So find your ritual, find that center, find that connection. Morning prayer, morning meditation, stretch the body. It's very important to stretch. In those moments of stretching and being one with yourself, you're able to connect. And that's when you can hear God's voice and that strength. I can't do this on my own. I've accomplished some great things, but I've yet to accomplish what I envision, right? There's so much more I want to accomplish. But I would say the best advice is find your morning rituals and absolutely do not get distracted by the things that do not matter, because
Uh,
there's going to be so many distractions and there's going to be
oh
so
yeah,
many naysayers and there's going to be people in your life that aren't going to understand the vision. But if God gave you that vision, you walk forward in it and you do not get distracted by nothing. And that may be that you may have to eliminate some energies around you, people's you may have to do that. And that's okay. You do it in love. And that was also, the power of love. Everything I've done has always been in love. When I'm leading as a leader in my organization, I'm always doing it with love. Sometimes you have to speak up, and it's not what people want to hear, but there's a way to do it in love. I do believe, I remember having a leader in the past that worked with me tell me, you wear your emotions on your sleeve. You love too deeply. And I remember looking at him and saying to myself, what a fool you are, because it's that love that has gotten me through so many doors. It's being kind, it's being generous, it's being so good to the people around me that know my heart, that know that my only number one intention is to really see people get to the next level. So you got to care about people. If you don't care about people, I don't
right.
know. I think that's what's got me where I'm at today.
Absolutely. Yeah. And definitely, when you talk about caring for people and you loving on people, I think that, yeah, definitely it's helped you, especially, with your nonprofit, that I know that this is something that you're very proud of. And I've seen all the amazing things that you do for the kids. And it's really beautiful to see just their joy and just what you're doing for the community, which is very rare to see people step up in that way. And you have done that. And for you, what would you say, just being able to have this nonprofit, what has that done for you in regards to love?
When you can love and give somebody something that they can never repay you back, I think
Mm,
that's the highest form of love, because you
mm,
don't expect anything. There's nothing in expectation. I think that in the business world, in I believe in the business world, in the relationships, we find ourselves expecting, right? If I give you one, two, three, then I want reciprocity, right? I want to see one, two, three, and maybe four back, right? And for me, in the nonprofit and giving to these children. We work with low income families and we work with foster children. You give freely. You give freely. Everybody who's donated, everybody who's sponsored a child, everybody who has been on a board over the last 13 years, a board member over the last 13 years, they have given freely of their time, of their monetary resources or connections with nothing in return, because there's no way that anybody can pay you back. The only payback is love. When you see the child smile on their face, I think I have to say one thing that's really powerful. We held our 13th annual back to school event this past August, and we've been around long enough that some of our older youth that were in the program actually have jobs now. They've graduated high school, have jobs, came back to sponsor a child.
wow. That's deep. Wow, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
And that for me was the greatest accomplishment yet for
Yes,
me,
absolutely.
because we built a community where these kids feel safe, they feel loved, and they want to come back to help
Yes.
these other kids now that they're working. And that's always been the goal, is just to build a community, and that you pay it forward, you continue to pay it forward. So huge shout out to Jose. I don't know if you'll see this on my social media platforms, and Celia, for raising your kids to be givers. For me, that was a big deal.
Wow, that's amazing. And that's really cool how not only did you receive love back, but you also left like a really big impression on these kids to now not only, well, now they have a job, but to also become leaders themselves. That's what you're really building too, is like future leaders that said, hey, somebody cared for me at one point. I want to care for other people. So you're giving not just love, compassion, empathy, but you're also giving leadership skills. I mean, just by doing it, by being it, you being a leader by doing, not saying, is showing other people, I also want to be a leader just like Christa was to me at one point in my life.
Yeah, I
So,
really believe that. And we have, I wish I could take all the props for it and the accolades, but we have, it's all God, number one, and the people that he sends. We have such a huge group of individuals that volunteer, our board members. My heart, like, I'm so grateful and thankful to lead with them. Every time I see them collaborating together and we're coming up with a project or we're coming up with an event at the very end, my right hand, Esmeralda, like these people care so much and they work so hard for no compensation because it's volunteer work. And so it's just a group of people that just want to give back. They've done well in their lives and they want to give back. So I do believe in success. It's not about what you have, it's about what what legacy are you leaving behind? What are you
mhm,
building?
right.
Um, and that's what's most important to me as a leader.
Yeah, I love that. And I really would like to talk about this like service because you're definitely a person of service and you love to serve people. But I hear a lot of people who say, I want to serve, I want to give, I just don't know how to. Or sometimes people are very shy because let's say there's like a volunteer opportunity or something like that, but they're kind of like, I've never done this before. I don't know if I should or if I could, or maybe I'm not good enough. Like, what would you say to those people in regards to people who are on the fence of being of service, maybe because they don't know how to get started, or maybe they're just too shy? What kind of advice would you give to them for those people that have been thinking about it?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say just walk through the door. A
Mm,
lot of
mhm.
nonprofits will have volunteer forms on their line. We have a volunteer form, and you can go on to the website and put your information in so that you can volunteer. So just walk through the door. If it whatever I think in giving of service is what's close to your heart. For me, animals
Mhm.
is a big deal. I always said if I didn't have a nonprofit for children, I'd probably have a nonprofit for animals
Yeah,
because I love animals so much.
yeah.
And so if animals is what your passion is to help, homeless animals and strays, then volunteer at your local, see oh, I don't know, what are they called in your
Shelter.
area?
I think so.
Yeah, shelter, animal
Yeah. Mhm.
shelter. If it's children, foster children, then look around in your town so that you can fill out those forms and go in and find more information. Now, building a nonprofit is a whole other thing.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
I think if I would have known how much work building a nonprofit would be, I would have been probably so scared I may not have taken action. But I jumped in full whole body and said, "Okay, you're going to swim," and that's where we're at today, 13 years later. So by the grace of God, for sure.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, and I definitely agree. You just got to walk through that door and just look around, and because you'll be surprised. There's people that are waiting for you to just come and volunteer because I know that with nonprofits, that's something that is a need. But again, if people don't put themselves out there and look for it, you'll never find it. So I definitely agree. Start searching and start because when you're giving, I mean, just like you heard Krista say, you can see hear in her voice how just fulfilled she is because of the services that she's given and also just the impact that she's made on other people that now still to this day remember her ever since they were a little kid. That's such a beautiful story that you shared about those young, leaders that came back to help. So yeah, definitely. So Krista, for you, um, what would you say was was that like for you that turning point, like when you were going through all of this? all of these challenges at one point, like what would you say was that turning point for you where everything like really just like clicked and just changed for you? What would you say that would be?
Um, Unfortunately, the school of hard knocks
Mm,
was turning points for me, is when you're at your lowest
mm,
and you're absolutely unfulfilled in what you were doing,
mhm.
or the environment that you're in, or
Right.
whether it's a job or a career, when you just wake up and you have zero energy for it, and you can't do anymore. Your creativity isn't working anymore. You're not thinking of new ideas. You're not excited to bring new ideas to your table with leaders you're working with, or if you're a leader, you're not inspiring other people. That was a turning point for me to realize I needed to move on from where I was at, put myself in a position where I could build out the nonprofit and work on my other businesses that I have. I've been in the mortgage industry for 22 years. So I have other projects that I've been working on. And so that is when I believe, for me and a lot of leaders and powerhouses I know, it's when they're at the bottom where they have to, like, we go back to reinvent yourself, right? You're like, okay, I've been doing this for so many years, it was great while it lasted, it's good until it's not good, right? And then you have
Yeah.
to say, I got to do something different.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm loving this stuff. It's like a master class that we're having here. Uh,
Right.
Definitely, yeah, taking notes right here. So and then just kind of like for people out there that are maybe they are in a down, like they're having those down moments where they are where you were at one point where you're just like, man, I don't know what's going on, like things are not working out, or what am I gonna do? For those people that I kind of feel stuck, what maybe 2 to 3 tips would you give them to kind of get unstuck and start to do something? What tips would those be?
Number one, shift your energy.
Mm, mhm.
Find something to raise that energy. If you're at a low energy, if it's music that you love, turn that music on. Prayer, whatever you need to do to shift that energy. And I should say, number one, God, pray, because that'll all give you guidance. But in prayer, I have learned that God will be like, get your booty up and
Mhm.
dance, go to the gym, exercise,
Yep,
go for a walk, connect with nature. There is
yes,
power also in connecting with nature.
yeah,
And I'm a
absolutely.
big, big advocate of connecting with our earth, energy, sun. When
Yes.
you go out into nature and you just kind of glance out the sun and you just thank God for being alive, there's power in that. There really is.
Mhm.
So shifting that
Yes.
energy, those are a couple ways to shift that energy. Dancing, getting out, connecting with the nature, hug a tree for goodness sake. Whatever
Yeah.
it takes,
Yeah. Yeah.
grounding work.
Agree. Yes, it
Take
does.
your shoes off and be barefoot in grass.
Yep.
All of those
Yep.
things will shift your energy when you're low energy. The second thing is remind yourself, look in the mirror and remind yourself of where you've come from,
Mhm.
because you may think you haven't come further, you're not that far ahead, but you really are when you look back to where you came from.
Good
And
stuff.
I like to remind myself, and this is a very personal, but I think I can be transparent because if it inspires somebody, I remember when I go all the way back where I didn't even have, I was in a terrible relationship, and I didn't even have money for gas, and I would imagine myself driving the vehicle of my dreams that I wanted, right? That's all materialistic, but that's
Yeah.
how it
Yeah.
got me through driving
Yep.
that junk car, right? And
Yeah.
I remember one time I ran out of gas, and I'll never forget this because God really showed me. I ran out of gas and I was on my way to work, and payday was the next day, but it wasn't enough to get back and forth, right? And so I was walking, and this farmer was out there, and guess what, he has a gas, like, he's a farmer, so he has a gas tank out there. And so he tells me, and he says, people do this all the time. They run out of gas all the time out here. And I felt so bad. And I said, but I'm not other people. I will pay you back. I will come back tomorrow when I get paid and I will pay you back. So he fills my tank up. And the next day I come back and I give him the money. And he says, you're the first person in 15 years that have ever come back and paid me back. And I remember him telling me, he says, you're going to get through this time. Hang
Mm,
in there, kiddo. And I remember driving off, and I knew in my heart I would get through those difficult times. So I like to remind myself of those moments where it was really, really hard. So when it's hard now, that's not that hard, right? Does that make sense? My
mhm.
hard now is not as
Yes.
hard as it was then. And
Wow.
so that
Wow.
helps us move forward.
Man, that was awesome. Yeah, that gave me the chills. Like that was definitely, you guys need to rewind that one because that's a big insight that I really feel is very, very powerful. So, we were expecting an interview, but we ended up getting a masterclass today. So thanks, Krista. But
Oh, thank
but tell
you.
us, yeah, no, for sure. This was fun. So, I know that you have some, I mean, you're definitely always like, doing some stuff and you're definitely always putting some stuff out there, but can you can you tell us like about this new book that is coming up pretty soon? I know that you will be getting away for a little bit, going to a special place called Rome, which sounds really cool.
Yes,
But
Italy.
so that's another adventure which is really cool. But tell us a little bit about this new book that people can look forward to.
Yes, this is a project that I've been working on for years, and you're aware of it. And again, pushing through the uncomfortable, and but it's on my heart, and I've got to finish it. And so the last piece of the chapter was for me to travel to Rome, and I was in Rome when I was 18 years old. I had a beautiful opportunity to be there through a youth leadership at 18, and so I want to go back because I feel like it'll be so much different. I'll be turning 50 years old in February, so I really it's just a 360 for me, and I feel it's important for me to get to this point at the end of writing the book. But the book is You Truly Can Have It All, Live with Intention.
Love it.
And I really believe that when we having it all is different for every human.
Yeah. Yeah.
You may see, social media is so big on, the some people with fancy cars and they're beautiful and they live this beautiful life, and some people may look at that as like having that all, right? Um Creating generational wealth, all that's having it all. Or for me, it could be literally the homeless man that gets fed that day with food. In that moment, he has gratitude and he has it all. So it's really finding to be intentional with your daily activities and be present and really having gratitude and knowing that you have it all in the exact moment, place where you're at. So the book's got lots of stories. It has a lot of inspiration. A lot of God stories, and I'm really excited because I do believe I'm being called to write this book and a few others. So I just thank you so much, Andres, for you being the inspiration you are, and the for you shining your light, because you shine your light, you allow others to shine their light, and so you've been a
Appreciate you.
great help in helping me move that forward.
Thank you, Chris. I appreciate you. I appreciate your kind words. They really mean a lot. And when I hear things like this, I mean that lights me up, which I'm sure you know what that feels like. But yeah, this was really powerful and I really enjoyed our chat. I knew this was going to be powerful. So thank you again for being on the show. And I'm just really excited to have you on again. Once your new book comes out, definitely gonna have to have you on again and really super excited. But yeah, thank you again for being on. And thank you, the listener, for tuning in to Reinvent Yourself, Discovering Your Higher Purpose. We'll see you on the next episode. Have a good one.
Thank you.